So Lynette Natrass right now has been playing Flesh and Blood games down. Like I was talking about, like how we have different people who are running their own groups and involved in gaming and stuff. So Natrass, want to tell us about what's happening today down at downtown?
Yeah, so at the design school on a Sunday from about 1 o'clock, we play armory events, and so they will be classic construction or blitz, and so it's basically a chance for our locals to come play and see who you play for points. And unfortunately, I've had 2 losses. My last game was very close. I played against a ninja, and I was playing with my my elemental ranger on a frosty build. But yeah, it's really good. We get a good solid run of players from about 15 up to 25, I think, usually. Eatz is still in his round, and he'll be over when he's done. But yeah.
Yeah, I was just looking for this. I was looking for that
yeah.
Carbon. So I was like, this was the game you guys played today, right?
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah.
And you want to tell us about? I mean, we've talked about this before, but different stream. Talk about what this is all about and what.
So Flesh and Blood is a New Zealand-made card game developed by Legend Story Studios down in Auckland. It has been around since 2019. And we're just looking at now. They've got the Pro Tour happening in New Jersey next month, which we have a few players going over to have qualified. Not in our local area, unfortunately, but a few of my friends will be going over, and it's going to be really cool to see how they go. But yeah, it's really cool that we've now got like a Pro Tour, which means that people who play this game and love it can get to the level where they can be paid to play. So that's really cool. And we've also got coming up in a few months, there is going to be a world premiere of the next set, which they've revealed is called Uprising, and it's going to be having a draconic kind of base to it. So there is an illusionist that actually summons dragons as an illusion. So and this whole is going to a place that we haven't visited before, which is Volcor, which is kind of like a place that's like I know a lot of people might watch the Airbender. Avatar Airbender, like Fire Nation. So it's kind of it's very Fire Nation.
Right? That's what
it's kind of like Fire Nation, kind of. That's the kind of, and it's a region of Wraith that's actually under turmoil constantly, and there's an uprising of the lower class trying to fight the upper class. Which is that's the story we've got so far, and that's what Legend Story Studios does really well. We recently had some story building, so we have an ice wizard who is going back to Volcor to find her roots. She's had a experience and gone into the ice in Aria, and she's coming back to find herself. So she's on a journey to find herself at Volcor, and then they've played out the story of this hot-headed ninja that is Fire, who's trying to fight the draconic upper class to get their place. So that's what they do really well, is they have really good world building and stories that go with everything in the different areas. So it's and we haven't even got into spoiler season yet. It's a few months out.
I kind of wonder, because I'm watching a lot of anime with a lot of fantasy elements. I'm writing my own manga right now because with the whole thing of fantasy involved in it with sword and sorcery. So I'm wondering with these guys 3 years in, right? 2019, 3 years in, and it's how popular it is. I wonder if they're going to look at doing something like an animation or look at they could actually, especially with the Weather Workshop, right? Being here in New Zealand, whether they could look at, actually making a animated series you know, about
So
these
there,
characters.
yeah, there is a talk. There's something happening on Netflix. I'm not sure if it's a documentary about building building the actual business, or whether it's something to do with the world. But there was talk and whispers about something with Netflix, so I'm not sure about that. That's unconfirmed.
Because
Um,
there's also the element of like comics and manga as well, especially with
yeah,
this sort of stuff. And I think
yeah, they
you
got
got to
some
kind of
brilliant
wonder,
artists.
like, yeah, that's what I mean. I mean, because of the brilliant artists, you know, you already got your character designs in that, and it always, you know, so for someone like me, a noob who hasn't played the game, you
Yeah,
know, the way I got into Vanguard was by watching the anime about Vanguard,
yeah,
you know,
and
and so it
yeah.
helped me understand.
And that's something that they, as I said, they do really well. You can actually go onto their website, and there's the stories and lore behind every region, and also each character has their own backstories. So you can kind of like, I love Ranger, I love Azalea, because I love her backstory. Her backstory is like she's like, it was a street urchin in the lower pits of Metrix, and she
Yeah.
basically fended herself, hid herself so that she could survive. Tricked herself to get into the tavern and managed to get herself the ability to survive by taking what do you call, like, what a mafia, they give you hits or whatever, that kind of thing. So I like that backstory, like the way she worked herself way up. But there's all sorts of different backstories for different people. Like Katsu, he is actually one of the leaders of his clan, and he is wandering out into the to find a cure for an ailment that his particular clan is actually suffering from. So you can fall in love with each one of the characters, and that's what they've done so well. And I mean, they had 7 years before they put out the actual game, so they've had 7 years of character building, world building, and I'm not sure when they're going to run out and have to start doing more. But they're doing such a brilliant job because they built that world as well, and then the mechanics and stuff are actually really easy to get. I know people who've played Magic the Gathering or other games, you can get to a point where, especially with Magic, where you have bad games because you don't. There's a mana base thing, and if you don't get that mana base, you can't play. Whereas the way that Flesh and Blood's set up, every card has a pitch cost, so you've never got a hand that you can't do anything with. You've always, and you can also block with the cards from hand, so that means that even if it's a useless card to put on the field, you can block out 3 damage or whatever. So they've made the card game flow better. You don't feel like you're on a back foot, like a full back foot, because you just don't have a playable hand, because every card in hand can be used for multiple users. So yeah.
Now, you mentioned about pro tours. What is a pro tour?
If people are familiar with like poker and Magic the Gathering, they have a pro tour. So when you get to a certain level, so they have what they call, you get points for each time you play in a tournament and you do well. There's different tiers of tournaments. So an armory is like 0 tier, and then there's a 1 tier, a 2 tier, and a 3rd tier. And each tier has a better ranking, so you'll get more points from doing well in higher tier games. So then you can use those points and get a pro tour invitation. If you do really well in like a 3rd tier event, you'll get an invitation, or you can do it on just playing a lot of games and getting an invitation that way. And it is an opportunity. There is really good prizes to play on a professional level, and it brings people together who want to be competitive, but it doesn't exclude people who want to play casually, because you can still go play casually at your armory and not feel like you're playing in the top tiers. That's why the tier system works so well, because as with every card game, every person gets something different from it, and it's good that it caters to both the casual player and the professional player.
And it's a cheap game to get into, isn't it?
It ebbs and flows. They have recently made a legal rule system for the commoner gameplay, and for commoner you use common cards and you may use like a couple of rares only in your armor and hero area. So that means that with the common cards, a lot of places like we have here, we will quite often just, if someone says, oh, I'm going to try ninja, we'll just chuck a whole lot of ninja cards at them because we've all got what we want. So it can be expensive, but there are ways to play it without paying a lot of money.
That's pretty cool.
I mean, if you want to play top tier, you will have to put some money into it, but yeah.
I mean, I've loved the whole thing always, that the fact that it's New Zealand made, the whole thing that this is a New Zealand company.
Yeah.
Like you said, it took them 7 years to come together and put it all into action. And then it's, so they've been around for 10 years now, 7 years of programming, plotting out the backstories and all that. And now you've got Pro Tours in 3 years.
And hopefully will. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a success story that we want to see any Kiwi be able to do and reach. And I think it's a great thing that you guys have basically backed it hard out here locally with Eatz and bringing it up and pushing it. And I think that's a great thing. And now is it 16 plus? Because it says 16 plus on the card. Is it that you have to be 16 to play because of the way it's set up, or?
It's because of the content of the cards. Like the artworks can be quite graphic, but there are like children that play because their parents allow them to play. It is because of the graphics of the cards that they have to have the 16 on there. And a lot of families do play together. And I've seen armories down in the Wellington area where they have kids that play really well. It comes down to, it needs to be a decision of the parents, so whether that's something they want to expose their kids to. But 16, it's the same as Magic. There is a great 7-year-old player of Magic, but it is a 13 plus game. So it just comes down to the parents' decisions and what they want their kids to be doing. But I mean, I would allow my nephews to play because it's good for mathematics, it's good for strategy. So.
Well, there is also that thing where parents know what's right for their kids anyway, because they understand what their kids have been. What is that word?
Exposed to.
Exposed to. Like I remember when we were running the comic shop, I had someone, young kid, maybe about 12 or 11, who was into Deadpool. Deadpool. This is before the movie came out, right? Before the movie being so, he was reading the comic books and stuff. And that's all he ever bought. And I looked at the parent, I said, I don't know. And she said, he's fine. He's fine. Yeah. That's all he loves, and we're into it. And so I understood that, if there's different levels of maturity depending on the way the kids have been raised. Not two kids are going to be exposed the same way, and so that's pretty cool. That's what I thought. If the parents are there, then it's the parents' responsibility in the end.
Ultimately, it is. And as I said, there is a lot of things in this game that outweigh that age limit, to be honest.
But the graphics, the graphics on these are awesome. I still have the poster somewhere because I saved the poster because I just love the poster. I want to frame it, put it up on the wall when I have space. I have the frame.
Yeah.
And,
it's a shame I'm not at home because I've got all my posters on the wall.
Yeah, I'm hoping that Eatz will bring some more posters up there this year for, you guys will bring posters for.
We have some sweet Aria banners that I think might be brought up. I'm not sure. But yeah, they're very gorgeous. Awesome. Aria is very Celtic, very Nordic inspirations there. So,
I watch tons of fantasy anime. I love fantasy anime because it reminds me of Conan and stuff. When I was a kid growing up, watching and reading, watching the Conan movies and then reading the Conan books, and just a sword and sorcery. And this is that's great about bringing that theme into it. It's outside of the whole element of like costumed heroes, right? Now you actually have armored heroes, so on doing.
Yeah.
So, do you have any more time, or is Eatz around?
Yeah, no, I'm good. No, Eatz just popped outside. I'm hoping he's going to be in a second.
Cool. Because I was like, okay, let's give it another 10 minutes, and we won't, because I promise you I wouldn't have a long time with you today, and because you guys are gaming and stuff. But I mean, I think I just love the fact seeing so much awesome things coming out of New Zealand all the time, and it's just, you know, being able to be such a such a productive place and creative place compared to the size that we have, and I think it's cool. It can only get bigger and better. That's why I'm like quite excited. If these guys turn it into a comic book or turn it into a manga series, it'll be, you know, there's just so many more people involved. You know? I mean, like Vanguard, you know, the Vanguard card game, and you know the way they played it, and the anime, and you got to see how, you know, how it was played.
Yeah,
so as a noob like me who'd never played card games like this before, you know, collectible card games, you suddenly were able to get the mechanism of it, you know, and it's just such a cool way, and I hope they do it. I think it's another element they could go into. But the other thing is, go into figurines. Make figurines so I can collect them. You know, get me my little beast things, whatever, you know, so I can buy it that way. If I'm not buying, if I'm not getting into the game, I'm getting into the merchandise.
Yeah, merchandise is a big thing. I'm not sure how Fab's looking at doing merchandise at all, but I mean that is also a possibility. They haven't closed the door on that, but I think their main focus at the moment is the player base, and so they're trying to build and get a good concrete player base, and hopefully work from there. Eatz has been in since the beginning, as I understand, because he is good friends with James White and that, and they like talked, and they did a lot of talking back and forth and getting people that they that understood other games like Yu-Gi-Oh! As Eatz does play, to help to see what would be best on launch day. So yeah, hope Eatz is coming now. Here's Eatz. Have a seat.
Thank you. Thanks,
Hey,
man.
Hey,
dude.
How are
Your
you?
beard is getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah, I've got to shave it. I think I've got a I've got my own costume.
What are you cosplaying as?
D Snyder from Twisted Sister.
Ooh, hold on. This is what I picked up this week.
Oh, nice, nice. It's Gene Simmons.
Yeah. Kiss.
Yes, I like that. We're at
Awesome.
during the, I think it's the 3rd week of May at work. We're doing breast cancer awareness. So if you go look at any picture of D Snyder, he's got black and pink for the breast cancer pink. And I bought a wig from Lynette's work, massive as big blonde wig, and a pink one to go with it. So we're gonna last year we did like this internal competition at work, and it was like who could do like the best dress sort of thing, and they got like a little bit of a prize and to see who could raise the most money, and we won that one, first place. And then this year we're going to one up ourselves and hopefully get some more money for breast cancer as well.
Awesome. It's awesome to see all the community get involved with things like that. It just reminded me of you know, when Ryan Reynolds did one with Deadpool, and he was all in pink and stuff, and did a whole video promoting that. I think it was breast cancer awareness. Yeah.
Oh, sweet. Yeah,
So,
yeah.
Oh yeah, so I was just going to talk about Flesh and Blood. You guys got a tournament on right now, and so taking off from when Lynette said you were involved with these guys from was it Legend Story Studios from the start. So
Yep.
tell us about that part of things.
Okay, so when the guys at Hobby Cove decided that they were going to close Hobby Co and stop doing Yu-Gi-Oh in New Zealand and pass it off to someone else because they wanted to start their own venture, and that's where they put out this little subscription notice, and they're like, go sign up to this and you'll see what's coming in the future. And that was the growth of Slingshot Underground. And then following that, I subscribed. And then a few months later, I got this nice little package in the mail that said, thank you for subscribing to a random subscription service. And we got sent this Flesh and Blood promotional stuff. And it was all a lead up, a big reveal. And yeah, now those guys are running LSS as a full business. Trying to think of what to say. I get stuck on these because I'm never prepared.
I'm like that. Like 5 minutes before. It's like, what am I going to talk about? So notes. Yeah. So I mean, like, after the package came out, you got that. So what then? What happened with everything else after that? Like, how did you get involved with these guys and get into gaming? Because you were like, I mean, from like you were into Yu-Gi-Oh, you were into hard out into that, and so you knew you were into card and stuff hard out. So how did you move into saying, okay, this is a new game I should pick up or not?
I had a heap of faith. I had a heap of faith with like following James White on his adventure, because every time we had an interaction, you could see we built like a friendship there. And he goes, look forward to the future. Always see the future. Like looking forward. What can we do for the community and that sort of stuff. And then he sort of out of the blue. It was sort of out of the blue. They go, we're doing the release for Flesh and Blood. And straight away I knew it was it was done by James and all the guys that used not all the guys, but most guys used to work for Hobby Co. And following from your footsteps after you closed down Comic Trade, it just felt like the next step. At that part when Flesh and Blood came out, I was like, why don't we get behind this? It's Kiwi designed, made and developed, and what have you. Which is absolutely fantastic, and I think that got a lot of people on board, going, "Wow, we can support something that's from our roots." It was, I would say, in an easy sense, it was a no-brainer. Like, I had heaps of faith in it, and when I seen at the world premiere, this is what really solidified it for me. Is where there hasn't always been, but I guess it kind of varies. There's the Magic the Gathering community. And then there was the Yu-Gi-Oh community, and then there was the D&D community, and Pokemon. And then when we all turned up to this world premiere, all those different communities were coming together, and it just showed that vision that James, the vision that James proclaimed for Flesh and Blood, is bringing those players together in a common language of card games. It really did. It really did. Like I don't know what he would have felt on day one of the premiere or what have you, but I noticed it straight away. I went and talked to players that only played Magic or only played like the Commander side of Magic or what have you, and there was a whole bunch of people that I don't even know, and now I have a whole bunch of new mates and stuff that I got from that. It was real. It was like watching a vision come to life. Really solidified it for me. It was like, this is what we want to do. This is how we do it. And then I think a lot of people felt the same as me, and we all just banded together to just support it. And it took the guys that play Yu-Gi-Oh here a little while to 2 years or nearly 2 years to like sort of shift over. But I don't really know what to say. It's been a bit of a blast, a bit of a whirlwind. We've had the issues with COVID, like the big 4-week lockdown we had up here. And the game's only just gone up and up and up, even through that. And I don't know if you've seen the interview James had on Super Sharp.
No,
that was last year, and it was like,
TV. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
sorry, I don't watch TV.
Right.
So,
I ended up watching it online after I heard about it. So,
yeah.
yeah,
I got a cameo.
and Lynette actually had a cameo on there too.
Awesome.
But yeah, to sum it up, it was I reckon to sum that up, Arua was literally just having faith and watching the vision come to life, and it was I like watching people succeed, and I like seeing people do well, and that was really cool for me. That hit really hard. I was like, wow, I wish I could do something like that, or had the knowledge and the base to do that sort of stuff. So that's what I've always tried to follow in those footsteps.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of time, I mean, like you see someone doing something, you still have to find the support to support that person doing something. Otherwise, that person is just struggling to do something. And I think that's the great thing about what you guys are doing, because by promoting, by getting these events going every week that you do, and the tournaments you guys run, you are actually doing as much as a tough work that those guys there are in building that work, And I think it's kind of like, if without you guys, there wouldn't be this success that Flesh and Blood has had. You guys, when I mean you guys, I mean all these small groups all over New Zealand getting involved in that.
That's right. And what I think is really cool is, like, not only did it bring like the player base, but then you've got like people like Lynette herself, who's gone, I really like that, I want to cosplay that, and that's brought a whole bunch of cosplayers in. There's even a special promo just for cosplayers. There's some bits behind that we could go into, but I won't now. But there's things like that. There's what else is there?
Gene got his own card.
Oh yeah, there's been cards named after players of the game, and personal friends of like James White himself. I would say Gina's by far. He's a really good guy. There was a guy in Wellington. He on the nights that they've had events down there, he's put on an after party, and he's made his own alcohol to sell at his bar, named after a card as well. Yeah. So it just expands so much more than just we play the card game. It does actually just expand out, and the more reach, there's more reach, which brings in more players. And as you said, the players are the most important part. As long as you've got a good foundation and give out, and they're listening to it, it's like their business model works from the customers in. They're listening to the customers, and then they're not going, this is what we've got, this is what it is. It is more so, let's take on board what everyone's saying and let's put out what they want. And it's real humbling. Humbling?
Yeah, it's probably right.
Yeah, I think it's right. It's real humbling to know that we all have an act as players and as TOs, and I'm sure the shop guys get this as well. That they're all part of it, and it's not that hard to just open some doors and run an event, and just watch everyone have a good time. I can see heaps of smiles around the place, and it's real uplifting. It's I dive into it pretty deep.
We're going to have to head to next round soon. I don't think we can keep everyone waiting too much.
No, that's fine. We're about to hit our 1 hour mark, so that's it from me as well. So thank you guys. I mean, I'm looking forward to this year, because each time I want to get a pack, I want to get an actual starter pack, just because I want to have a collection of that, because it's that's my way of supporting, right? Because I think it's just seeing the artwork. I want to open this, but I don't want to open this. It's like from 2019 or so. And, it's one of those things where I have boxes of toys and they stay in their box because it looks so cool in the box. But if I open it, then they'll get scratched and stuff. It's just, same thing with the cards. If I open it, it's, hopefully this goes up in price in a few years.
Probably already has.
But thank you.
That's right. It probably already has.
I hope that when we're at Plunge this year, we have an awesome time, and I'm going to tell you, once we finish this year's Plunge, then I can say what next to the plunges are coming up to the public, because we have some amazing things that we're going to be doing in 2023. Just, yeah, looking forward to it. But thank you for your time, and
No
I'll let
worries.
you get back to your game.
Yeah,
And
thank you.
thank you for your support. I really appreciate it. Ka kite anō. See you guys.
Catch you later.
Any last words before you go?
Any last words?
Any last words? Yeah, actually, thank you, Aru, for allowing us to, bring our stuff to Plunge and bring the atmosphere.
Yeah, be part of it.
As much as you're supporting us by allowing us to do that, I hope that we support you in the same manner by giving you a more experience and stuff to do at your Plunge. And well, not so much your Plunge, just as Plunge in general. And yeah, and just help it grow.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank
I
you very
appreciate
much.
it. You guys are awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you both. Have a good afternoon, and I hope you guys win some more.
Thanks.
Lynette.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. All right, guys, that's all for today from us, from myself, and we'll see you next time, hopefully in a month or so, and as we look forward to Plunge 2022 and yeah, pop culture convention. So as I mentioned, as the guys mentioned, there's such a great environment for the whole family to be involved in. There's from gaming to drawing to coloring in to merchandise that you can buy, and then things you can learn and artists you can meet and so much more. And there's forgot to mention, there's a gentleman, David Boston, who's bringing a whole bunch of comics to sell this year. First time at our event, and hope there'll be so many others. I'm just looking forward to seeing everybody that's going to be involved. And no more lockdowns this year, so there's no restrictions like that. But be safe. Hopefully by July it will be all good completely. We'll be back to green. And I'm taking a step back this year and letting another person, one of our other staff, actually head it up as and be able to learn how to run the event. So thank you for your time. Wherever you are, be well, be safe. Ka kite anō.